January 29th, the year 2000, Pontiac, Michigan. A lone man walks into a bar, The Cave, where a local band, Lemon Wine, will be playing later that evening. The man sits at the bar, has a few drinks, and waits for the band to play. In the middle of the set, this lone man walks on stage with a pair of bongo drums. As mysterious as he got on stage, the man left without speaking a single word to anyone involved. Some speculate that this man could be the mysterious, fast Freddy Fantastic.
I've never worked with anyone with the particular combination of style and technique as Fast Freddy.
The man is dedicated to his craft. He's an artist, a dedicated artist.
He was awesome, man. He's really good. Well, I mean, he was a little bit better than most of the people in our band, so, I mean, kind of made us embarrassed, but, you know, what the hell, you gotta play.
Hey, Triple F, that's what it's all about. Keep it real.
Yes, that's correct. I videotaped the show at the Cave that night. About halfway through the show, this guy showed up, and I don't know who he was. I didn't see him before he got there.
This guy got up on stage with us, started playing the bongos, and I was a bit put off by it at first, but he was pretty good, so I didn't get him, didn't throw him off.
It took everyone by surprise. Everyone was kind of sitting back watching this show, and this guy was just, he was just unbelievable.
The band took a set break, and he left.
Just as strange as he got on stage, he was just gone.
People just knew this guy by Fast Freddy. Some people said, oh, it was Fast Freddy. And I had never seen him before that night.
Like nobody who's been in the industry this long can escape the stories of Fast Freddy. I mean, I've even been, obligated to tell them to, people that I've helped producing albums and stuff like that,
Talking to people over the course of the years, I heard he went down to Alabama, then he went out west. I heard a story about him out in New Mexico.
Shreveport, Louisiana, Savannah, Georgia, Pensacola, Florida, Miami, New York. He's dotted the eastern seaboard.
And breaking a recording, somebody starts telling you the story about this guy whose mother killed herself and whose father, picked up the mason jar that was filled with grain alcohol and just downed it, every single day,
He's not one of these modern rockers, these popular MTV creations. He shuns the spotlight.
The guy, of course, grows up, learns how to play the blues, goes out on his own, finds out, that nobody really throws him off the stage, and so he starts playing with people. And
he never gets the top billing. He never gets any billing at all. It's just kind of the kid just shows up and turns it out.
Every now and again, he'll just blow out into town, blow back out, before the band he's sitting in with finishes playing, and nobody figures out who he is. Nobody asks any questions because he's gone too quickly. So.
I was coming back from my uncle's, coming up 15501 to go over to catch 40, and I didn't actually know how to get over to 40, so I stopped to get directions in Orange County, and I got a flyer off a pole to write the directions on, and as I was getting back in the car, I flipped it over, and it was a missing persons flyer, and the name of the person missing was Stephen Wexler. And the kid on the picture looked really, really familiar, but I didn't know who it was. It just looked really familiar to me. And then a couple weeks later, I was looking at the tape with some friends that I'd made at the Cave of Lemon Wine playing, and the kid in the flyer looked a whole lot like the bongo player that shown up that no one knew. So I was just sitting there thinking, that's really freaky, and just didn't think about it anymore. Just kind of wondered how the two were connected.
This is my son, Stephen Wexler. He was a great kid, and when he was growing up, I told him he could do anything he wanted to do. And he did. In high school, he had a 3.9 grade average. He played in a band, and they'd signed with Polydor. He dated the prettiest girl in school, and, he was a great surfer, you can tell from his tan. He had everything. love my son. And it was very apparent from an early age. When he was a baby, he'd pull out the pots and pans from the kitchen and beat on them, and he had an amazing sense of rhythm from a very, very early age. And when he got a little bit older, then he and me and his mama would get together in the living room and we'd just jam, you know, doing whatever. He had a terrific sense of rhythm. And I taught him everything that I could, but mostly it was him. It was his just drive and talent that came from within.
He would always beat on his desk table to the point where it drove the teacher crazy. I remember he got in trouble a lot, which I kind of, from that point, thought that he had some kind of interesting personality about him.
I don't know, Steven was just a really talented guy, you know. He had a knack for picking up music, and certain things would happen, like, you know, I remember one time they tore up the street here to put in a sewer line, and, you know, Steven was out there just with the machines as they were tearing up the street. Like, he could sense this just natural rhythm.
The Wexler family has always been synonymous with music. You know, we're like the Partridge Family or the Brady Bunch. My mama could sing. She had the voice. My daddy, he played piano. Stephen played percussion.
What instrument do you play?
Oh, I don't play. I wasn't gifted with the gift of music.
One of the special things that we did together, every Sunday afternoon we'd go down to Rusty's, this cafe downtown, and they'd have different jazz bands in on Sunday afternoons, and we'd go down and listen to them. And then, you know, musicians, we'd drive home and we'd talk about the piano player, we'd talk about the drummer, what we liked and what we didn't like. And Stephen really had a good feeling for other people's music as well as his own, and I think that added a whole lot to what he did, you know, on the drums. We had some great times together on those Sunday afternoons at Rusty's.
Did you ever hear of any physical or mental abuse in the family?
No, I mean, Steven's dad, you know, lived right up the street from me. He still lives right over there. And he's a great guy. He really is. I can't imagine him ever hurting Steven. Of course, his mom wasn't there, and his dad never remarried. I don't know why.
Mama met Daddy in church. He played the organ, or the pipes, as Mama used to call them.
She could sing a gospel song. She probably rocked every Baptist church between Atlanta and New Orleans. She could really sing, and she was fat too. She was a beautiful woman. She was a beautiful woman. And then one weekend I had the children up at my mother's house, and the telephone rang late one night, and it was a neighbor calling us to tell us that the house had burned down to the ground. She liked to smoke in bed. Nobody knew it, except me, because when I'd come home from late night practices, I could tell there was cigarette smoke in the air. And so we raced home to see, and we pulled up in the driveway, and there was nothing left. Just a burnt frame, and Cinnamon was gone.
We haven't really been the same since, and now I can only see my mama in my heart and in my mind.
We were in the jazz band in high school, which I guess was the first time we kind of worked on a more serious musical level, and also the point where we decided we wanted to move on to something further.
When he got to be a teenager, he met some kids in the neighborhood that played instruments, and they formed a band, and they were really good. A lot of the arrangements that they did were things that Stephen had put together, and he brought his own soul into it.
When Stephen went behind that drum set, he made it sound beautiful. I mean, that's when I realized that there was some talent in those hands. And just his coordination and his ability to pick it up was amazing.
summer they were in this battle of the bands, and the crowd really went wild when they played. And afterwards they met this guy named Hal Armstrong, who said he was an agent from Polydor and wanted to sign him a contract.
And you got to remember, we come from a small town where, you know, most people stay in the same place, and for us, this was our way out. We were getting out of the town.
They had started recording this album for Polydor at a local studio, but one night the producer, Hal Armstrong, came into town, and he had a lot of suggestions about different things that he wanted to see in the music to make it more commercially viable.
This is what we had dreamed of doing. We had finally made it big. This is what, you know, I started playing in his garage and, you know, played shows, worked on pretty much, you know, every day.
And then, you know, there I am starting a record contract, you know, taking this huge risk. So, you know, I'm putting my entire career on the line for this kid, and he's telling me that, you know, he takes off and doesn't always finish what he starts.
And he came home that night and he was really upset about it. And he wanted to quit. He just wanted to tear up the contract and forget about Hal Armstrong and Polydor and the whole mess.
You know, so I'm like, look, if it ever gets really bad, just tell me, give me 3 days, 3 days. Just let me know 3 days in advance. That much, that's all I ask.
And then Steven left.
If Steven left, and that's what he did, then that was what he had to do, you know?
Steven left. I mean, he just left.
He had taken his drum kit, his clothes were gone, everything. Steven was gone.
Sometimes, you know, they say it's better to love than lost, but I'm only saying that because they don't know how much it hurts.
We put his picture up. We put his picture up all over town. We've been... Just open your mind. This could be my brother. This could be him.
It could be. It could be. I can't be convinced from this video, but I think we're doing the right thing.
See, Dad.
It's so obscure.
Just watch. Just watch on the side.
I don't know. I mean, it kind of looked like Steven, but I couldn't tell. It wasn't close enough to him. I mean, I wouldn't think it really like says anything.
I don't know. I mean, it's such an obscure piece of video, and I mean, there's all these people in the way and everything. But mostly, it's just the sound of it, and I mean, it could have been, you know.
Do you think it's Steven? Do you have some kind of information that says it is?
No, we don't. We just hope. That's all we have.
I hope so too.
I don't know.
It's him, Daddy.
It's such an obscure video. I just don't want us to get our hopes up too much, because
Why not? This is the first thing we've had to get our hopes
like
up about.
It just looks like him.
Daddy,
It does not play like him.
There were a few times in that video when you could see very clearly that that was Steven. I mean, his hair.
It was somebody that looked like Steven. It could have been Steven.
I mean, I just couldn't tell from that. But I mean, he was good, and you know, somebody that good, that could be Steven.
I mean, it could have been him, but he wouldn't have chosen a tacky name like that, I don't think. Because he was a smart boy. But mostly it's the playing, don't you? And he's changed, but the left hand is just not.
Daddy,
I've never
the
seen.
the left
And it
hand
doesn't
looks-
sound right. It's been 10 years though. It's too obscure. The video is just too obscure to. I mean, you know, I'm hopeful, but
Daddy, you know it's him.
not from the way it sounds and from the way he's playing the drums.
Well, I hope that Steven Wexler is Fast Freddy Fantastic. It'd be great that some kid who's been apart from his family for years gets reunited with him because I got lost in North Carolina and happened to tape a video with him in it. I mean, that'd be really cool.
I know that was about 5 years ago. I've never seen him again, but it was a good night.
He's an artist, a dedicated artist.
Have you ever heard of a kid by the name of Steven Wexler?
Steven Wexler? I don't know about that. Is he another fan?
Steven Wexler. It sounds familiar.
I've never heard that name.
Did he say anything to you at all?
No, didn't say anything.
He just came and left?
Just came and left. Just came in, sat down, wailed away on the bongos, got up and left.
What do you want?
I want to know about Fast Freddy Fantastic.
Yeah, see him for yourself.
Have you ever heard of a drummer named Fast Freddy Fantastic?
No, I haven't.
It's cool.
Is Steven Wexler Fast Freddy Fantastic? That is the question the Wexler family must ask themselves now. Regardless, they will continue their endless pursuit of their loved one in hopes that one day they will be reunited again as a family. If you have any knowledge of the whereabouts of Steven Wexler, Fast Freddy Fantastic, please call